Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Alien Investigations, a channel dedicated to the X-Files Collectible Card Game. I'm Steven, and we're coming at you with another gameplay episode, of course, as always, featuring the X-Files Collectible Card Game. And I've got my favorite opponent with me, Guillaume, joining us all the way from France, who's going to be Guillaume is going to be my opponent for this matchup. And we've got a fun game in store for those of you who are tuning in. So if you have been following the channel in recent months, you might have seen a few short sample deck videos that I've been posting, both at the end of each of the more recently finished episodes, but also as single videos titled Sample Decks. And there are currently 5 of them right now hiding on my channel that you can check out. And I've got links to 2 of them in the description below. And what two specifically? Well, the 2 sample decks that Guillaume and I are going to be using for this very matchup. Right, Guillaume?
Yes, absolutely.
And so of those 5 sample decks that I've put out there to help new viewers, to help new players get acquainted with the X-Files CCG, I thought Guillaume and I thought this would be a fun opportunity to utilize some of them in a game and just, I guess put a little bit of my money where my mouth is and, and see just how well they do. And so these decks, Guillaume, are, as you know from having assembled one of them yourselves, these are comprised of just commons, uncommons, and rares. We are not including any ultra rares, no promos, no fan-made expansion cards, none of that. We're just keeping it pretty basic, which is good for any players who are fairly new to the game and maybe not have had a chance to amass a decent collection of these cards yet. There are only 25 ultra rares and about 40 promos for this game, but some of them can be a little bit hard to get your hands on, and they might be a little pricey. But as far as commons and uncommons goes, those are pretty easy to come by. So, Guillaume, we had 5 sample decks to choose from. Tell the viewers, which sample deck did you choose for this matchup?
So for this one, I chose the travel deck. I think it features some agents like Phoebe Green, who I've actually never played. So that will be good for me.
This is going to be the first time you've used Phoebe in a game?
Yes.
Wow. So yeah, I bet you had to dust off that card before bringing it to the playmat. And like you, I don't use her very often either. But I want to give a shout out to Mr. David Peace over at the Studio Squim channel for inspiring me to assemble that particular sample deck, because if you were to go all the way back to episode 1 on this channel, the first gameplay episode, which featured myself squaring off with Mr. David Peace, he utilized a travel-themed deck in that very first episode, and so that was the inspiration behind that. Going back to the roots, and that seemed like a fitting way to do that for that particular sample deck, which I believe marked the 3-year anniversary for this channel. So it was a fitting choice. So I'm glad you chose that one, Guillaume. And I hope if Mr. David Peace is tuning in either for this live broadcast or for the recording later on, I'm hoping he'll be very pleased with seeing this deck in action. And hopefully, it will fare very well. And so that deck that Guillaume chose is sample deck number 5, and the link to that video is in the description, and so you can check that one out. And for my sample deck, I chose sample deck number 2, which is a bureaucracy-themed deck. And so this one, as you can imagine, is going to be led by Skinner, along with a few other agents who are very, very well versed in shuffling paperwork. They've got some other skills, but the bureaucracy aspect is they're pretty strong in that. So Guillaume, I'm going to bring in our tables now, and I'm going to let you do the honors of revealing your team of agents. Show us. Who do you got? You've already mentioned Phoebe Green, but who else is on your team?
Well, if you have Phoebe Green, you have to have Fox Mulder. So I have Mulder, on my team. So Phoebe Green, Tom Colton, and Section Chief Scott Blevins.
Excellent. Yeah, as you mentioned, Phoebe Green and Mulder do kind of go hand in hand, which is, as one might expect because of the nature of her appearance in that early season 1 episode Fire. Her effect allows Mulder to be moved from any section of the table to wherever she's occupying, and so they can potentially kick off 2 investigations if Mulder were to maybe solo another site, and then Guillaume pulls Mulder from that site over to where Phoebe Green is investigating. So yeah, that has some potential there. Or ultimately, if you should have Mulder sent somewhere he doesn't want to be, like the Bureau or maybe the hospital undamaged, she might be able to pull him out of there as well.
Yeah, I think what prevents me from using Phoebe Green is her cost of 5 RP. Because, when you have her and Mulder, like, that's already 12 that are taken. I mean, maybe if she was 4 RP, I'd be more willing to use her.
Exactly. And she doesn't have some of the same skills she doesn't have some of the skills that Mulder is quite strong in, like alien investigation, occult investigation, no subterfuge. So they're not exactly like a match made in heaven, which again is actually somewhat accurate when you look at the episode, because they just didn't jive well. The chemistry wasn't there, and I was like, what did those two ever see each other? But yeah, they do have a little bit of criminal evidence observation. She's got some sciences, which helps because Mulder doesn't have much sciences. So, collectively they can do a decent science.
But I think she would have been more useful. I mean, and even for the character, I would have given her 2 behavioral instead of 2 sciences.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, all of her 4 skills would have complemented Mulder together. That would have been, really strong in 4 skill checks. And, she was like a detective, and they studied psychology together. Mm-hmm. So that would make sense that she had behavioral.
Yeah, and they did spend a good chunk of that episode doing a behavior profile for a serial arsonist. So behavioral does seem like it would have been a more appropriate skill to assign to her, and a little bit of subterfuge as well, because she did have a streak for planning tapes with a car bomb recording on there as a little joke, but I don't know, doesn't really land for most of us viewers. But nevertheless, she does have some skills that do overlap with Mulder, so it kind of limits where I suspect you're going to be doing your primary. I get a sense that you're probably going to be focusing on criminal investigation, evidence collection, maybe some observation sites. Although I should know, because I did make these decks, so I was just kind of like being a little facetious there about, I know what sites are in there. So actually, so this was a very interesting deck to build. Out of the 5 that I've done, this one is my favorite, and I'm really glad we're getting a chance to try that one out tonight. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in my table, and I'm going to introduce my own team. And I don't have as much lighting on here, so let me see if I can maybe do something about that. Of course, that's just going to create a glare. All right. How well is it on your end?
It looks good.
Looks good? It's not too dark?
No.
Okay, excellent. As long as everyone's able to see what I'm working with here. And so, as I mentioned, I'm going to be bringing a bureaucracy-themed deck to this. And as such, I've got a team of agents that are well-versed in said skill. Most obviously, Assistant Director Walter Skinner, who's got a bureaucracy skill of 4. And he's got a very enviable effect in which he's treated as a Res 3 if he's in the Bureau section rifling through papers, such as he often did in the show. And joining Skinner is another stiff bureaucrat, Section Chief Scott Blevins, and that is actually going to be the one little bit of overlap between our 2 agents. An unlikely one, because we don't generally see Blevins, although he is prevalent in bureaucracy decks more often than not. However, he does fit somewhat with what you got over there in an interesting way. And joining Skinner and Blevins is Agent Tom Colton and Agent Mo Box. And finally, from the 1013 expansion, Agent Kresge. So we got a team of 5 FBI agents, some believers, mostly, but we got Colton being a stick in the mud about everything, but that goes hand in hand with his character. So this is going to be interesting, Guillaume. So these decks are, I don't have the exact numbers in my head, but you can check out the video and find out. They range between, I think the card size is about somewhere between 70 and 80, if I'm not mistaken. There might be around maybe 83 for the sample deck 5. Well, maybe 83 if you count the agents. But so it's not a very tall deck compared to some of the other casual decks we've built in the past, right?
Yeah, although I think that in the games we've played recently, and I mean recently, like at least in the last 2 years, I tend to try to keep it under 100 cards, like maybe around 80 or 90 cards tops, as opposed to when we started playing, and I would actually try to stack as much as possible, and you're like, well, I've included all those cards and I didn't see any of them.
Exactly, and plus it made it tough for some of those staple cards to come up when you most needed them. And like you, I've tried to keep my deck size to double digits as opposed to triple. It's hardest to do whenever we're working with some additional expansions, whether it be the Scully expansion or some of the fan-made expansions that you and I have put our heads together to create. And before I get any further, I guess I'll do a quick plug on the expansions. So if you are a member of our Discord group, and if you're not, the link to that is in the description, you can join us there. And that is where you will see us plugging some of the fan-made expansions that both Guillaume and myself and other members of the X-Files CCG Preservation Society have been working on for actually a total of about 3 years at this point. But we've made some real progress in more recent times in that we've just recently released the second edition of the Season 4 expansion. That is out now. We have finally put that one to bed, and we've got another expansion that we are currently working on. If you've seen some of the more recent playtest games on this channel, you'll know we are playtesting an expansion for Season 5, which we are planning to wrap up at the end of August, and that expansion will be all done on November 1st. So that'll be exciting. And if you want to stay apprised of all that, I again strongly recommend joining our Discord group. It's regrettably titled Purity Control, but again, you can find the invite to that in this description, in the description for this video, as well as every single video on this channel. Right, Guillaume?
Yeah, I do like the name. Like, I mean, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. It's a little. It makes sense if you're a fan of the show. If you're not, then you're wondering, gosh, they could have gone
it's
with
just weird.
But yes, it's a great community. Some days your notifications will just blow up because we might be having a very spirited debate on some of the nuances of cards. It's fun at times. Yeah. It might be a little exhaustive. It might be a little too exhaustive at times, but nevertheless, it's really enjoyable discourse. And
like, so if you join, just don't mention Langley and you'll be fine.
Yeah, but we promise, like if you're a newcomer and you just have that pressing question about Langley, I promise you, we have beaten that dead horse. We have beaten that horse to death on more than one occasion. Same with 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, really. So yeah, Langley, 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, we're done talking about those two. They've got some ambiguity in their effect, but I think we've more or less reached a consensus on it that I think we can all live with, and it's really the way we've been playing it for years. So we'll do that for this matchup, just like we have been. And I think we can say safely if neither one of us is going to be playing Unexplainable Time Loss in the briefing phase, because I think actually both of us have that card in our deck, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was one of the common staples amongst these two sample decks. So this is really exciting. And as I mentioned before we went live, it was never easier to build a deck prior to a live matchup, because you and I, all we had to do was just go to the list on that video, and there we go. So we didn't have to really put our brains to it or anything. Just pull the cards, shuffle them together. We're all set to go. So if anyone is thinking about trying a game out using these sample decks, there you go. Just if that's not incentive enough, you don't have to spend an hour hour and a half trying to cobble together a deck that seems like it might work, try out some of these sample decks. And if you do, let me know. Post that in the comments for this video. Let us know how your experience using some of those sample decks worked out. Guillaume, is there anything I haven't gone over, or are you ready to throw down, sir?
Just mention that we are using one of the new X-Files.
Holy smokes. How did I forget that? That is a very good point. So, as anyone knows who has played the game, there are 41 possible X-Files for which Guillaume and I have chosen for this matchup. And as always, the winner is going to be the one who identifies that hidden X-File first. Normally, I point to this little second corner of my table where that hidden X-File is located. However, Guillaume and I are going to be playtesting a new batch of X-Files for an upcoming expansion checklist that is going to include 41 brand new X-Files found in seasons 3 and 4. Anyone who's looked at that original checklist knows that it's representing episodes from seasons 1 and 2. So this new checklist expansion that Guillaume and I have been working on will have brand new X-File cards representing the show's 3rd and 4th seasons. This is very exciting. So again, 41 possible X-Files to choose from, and we will reveal the images of our chosen X-File at the end of this matchup, so you can bask in the beauty of those cards that Guillaume meticulously put together in a very quick amount of time too. It was amazing how fast you cobbled together this expansion. And this one, Guillaume, do remind me, when are we potentially looking at wrapping up this first of 4 checklist expansions, sir?
Yeah, so it's basically like ready to go, but we just want to playtest it in the sense that we want to make sure that it's well balanced among the different characteristics. But otherwise, the cards are done. And what we decided was, since we are releasing one big expansion per year, and that will be in November, on November 1st every year. And so we want to, balance the release. And so those smaller expansions that are only 41 or 45 cards will be released at the end of April each year. So we got November 1st of this year, we got the release of season 5, and then at the end of April 2026, we'll have the release of that first new checklist. And then November 1st of 2026 will be the release of season 6.
And so that way, do let the audience know who is spearheading season 6, by the way.
Yeah, I am.
Your first expansion will be out there for the world to gaze upon and enjoy November 1st of 2026. Seems like a long way from now, but it's in the meantime, you're going to have the opportunity to tune in for playtest games of that expansion when we get into 2026, because we'll be playtesting that throughout the spring, late spring, and most of summer. So it'll be really exciting. You can check that out. And so, yeah. Even though Guillaume has served as our graphics designer for the second edition of season 4 and for the season 5 expansion that we're currently playtesting, and the aforementioned checklist expansion that we're using for this matchup. So Guillaume is also going to be spearheading a few of the upcoming season-long expansions, including 6, season 7, season 8, and who knows where beyond there. There's a lot more that we have yet to assign, so you might find yourself doing even more when all said and done.
I think at that point I will need a break, not from making the cards, but just from coming up with ideas, because it's difficult to come up with something original and that is just not a rehash of something that has already been done. Like, there are only so many times that you can say, okay, send the agent back to the bureau, or to the hospital, or to wherever. But yeah, we'll see. I'm really excited for season 6. I actually wrote the first and second drafts of that expansion like a long time ago, and knowing that it's coming now and that we're going to start playtesting, or at least showing the cards on Discord in January. So I'm just going back to my file one last time, trying to refine the effects. And yeah, I think before that, I'll ask everyone about the graphics on the new Season 6 cards. Like, I have my templates ready, but I want to get everyone's feedback. And then once that's done, I'll be able to do the actual cards that we'll be able to play test.
Yes. So all the more reason to check out our Discord community where all of those updates can be found. So you can follow along of not only when we're scheduling games, but when there has been updates on the expansions that if you're interested in learning more about, that's the place to be. So you check it out. There's lots of good channels in there to feast upon and engage in some of the discussions. So can't say enough about that community. It's great. I mean, it's like so much of each of my day is spent in there, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So yes, anyway, in short, so Guillaume and I have each chosen an X-File from this new expansion checklist. Again, these are going to be from episodes in season 3 and 4. So again, first person to identify their opponent's hidden X-File will be the winner for this matchup. Exciting stuff. So, Guillaume.
And just like the original checklist, you do get, in addition to the 41 cards and maybe 1 or 2 promos, we'll see what we can do if we need to round up the number. But in addition, you also get, well, not an actual notepad, but at least a digital version of a new checklist that you'll be able to print out. So just like the original checklist, you also have like your own checklist with the 41 X-Files with the new X that we used on the back of our cards.
I love it. And that X is that specific format is used to mark our little X-Files CCG Preservation Society, who is behind all of the expansions that we have mentioned. So it's a very creative team of people who are really just each doing their part to make these expansions great. And these are 180 cards expansions that we're talking about. So a lot of work goes into refining those cards, reviewing them, playtesting them, and making sure that they are serviceable additions to the X-Files CCG community. So yes, the checklist DM just showed you there is what we're going to be using for this matchup. So we'll be using that to cross them off. And before long, we'll have them available as a digital checklist on the site that we normally use, that Joost Burns over in the Netherlands has made quite a handy resource for our games, as well as a great reference site for just about everything X-Files CCG related. Good stuff. And if you are tuning in for this live matchup, please feel free to post some live comments in the chat. And it's always fun having some audience participation during these games, and always a pleasure to have feline participation during these games as well. And I'm going to give a little shout out to 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 there, who is going to be doing her best, or his best to distract Guillaume during this matchup. So that can only work in my favor. All right, Guillaume, are we ready to draw our 7?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. We're going to get this game started. I haven't played in so long. I've only been reviewing games, so I'm feeling a little rusty. All right, so we got our 7, but what have we not done yet? We haven't decided which of us is going to be going first, Guillaume. All right. So 2 tokens there. If you pull the one with the red X, you get to decide whether you want to start off as the investigating player or the conspiracy player. How's that sound?
Good.
All right. So which hand is it going to be, right or left, sir?
Right.
Right. That was a good choice. It's the red X. So you get to decide. Are you going to be starting off as the conspiracy player or the investigating player for this first round?
Well, I'll go with the investigating player.
All right. Excellent. With that, draw your free card.
Okay. All right, so for my free card, I'm going to generate my res, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Since Blevins is in the hospital, is in the bureau, puts me at 12, and I'm just going to draw the 2 from Mulder, and I'll pass it to you.
Excellent. And I could use some more conspiracy cards with this hand. So I'm going to sell Detective Walter Eubanks for 3 and really didn't want to, but I'll sell the hospital crash cart for 4. So that's a total of 7, and that'll take my pool up to 12. From 5 to 12, and yeah, I really could use some better stuff, I would think. So let's go with 5. It's a little large, and I'll probably have to discard a lot, but I really could use some better things in my hand. Not a good start, unless this hand proves useful. We'll see. Depends where you're going. All right, Guillaume. So that wraps up our briefing phase, unless you got any last-minute things you need to do. You ready to head into healing?
Yes. So, no healing. No requisition for deployment. Can you do this one? Okay, since I did not actually build the deck, I need to check some of those cards, because there are some of them that I don't use. Well, I was going to say often, but that I never use.
Yeah, I think part of these sample, like, you can look at these sample decks in a way that it's not unlike some of those sealed deck games that you've seen, where we're at the mercy of whatever cards come out of those starter decks. Some of them are just fairly common cards that we just aren't necessarily inclined to use. I mean, they might be a little somewhat niche, or they just may not have a wow effect that warrants regular inclusion.
Okay, so I'm going to send Mulder, Phoebe Green, and Tom Colton to the field, and I'll keep Blevins in the bureau for now. And since we are in the deployment phase, I'm going to play, yes, driving. I'm going to pay 2 for driving. Well, actually, I'm going to pay 1, and I'm going to use Colton's token to pay for the other one, since it has the keyword criminal investigation. So driving, play on a team in the field during the deployment phase. If the team makes a criminal investigation 5 plus kill check, they may investigate 2 sites in the same... Oh, hold on.
Same state. I was getting really excited when I saw that card go down. I'm like, did that really work out that well?
No. So mind if I take it back?
Go for it. Yeah. No, I was like, we have not seen that card get played, because it is very hard to get 2 sites with the same state. But I built this deck to best facilitate that possibility. So we've got only 3 states represented amongst the sites in your deck. And I believe it's Massachusetts, Maryland, and oh god, I don't remember the third state, but it might be Washington State, possibly, as a nod to David Peace, because that's where he lives. Might be Washington. You have to watch the video. It tells you which 3 states are represented in that sample deck.
I may need to rethink this. Hold on.
Yeah, no worries. And while you're contemplating that, I do want to thank everyone who's tuning in for the live matchup. Again, audience participation is welcome. And if you haven't already done so, please feel free to investigate that subscribe button. A little support goes a long way from keeping this channel off life support. And yeah, that way you can stay up to date on everything that, X-Files CCG related that we're putting out on this channel. And I pretty much am doing weekly videos at this point, either live or just edited videos. So yeah, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll still try to do this. Okay, so I'm going to play 2 sites, and I'm going to use 2 of Mulder's tokens to do that. So I'm going to play Stevenston, Massachusetts. It's behavioral for plus and its results, and I'm also going to play containment facility in Georgetown, Maryland. It's observation, and it's also result.
Okay. I'm going to put 1 bluff on the the containment facility.
Okay. So I'm going to send Phoebe Green to the containment facility, and I'm going to send Mulder and Colton to Steveston, Massachusetts. I think they'll have a great time going there together. And I'll start the investigation at Steveston, Massachusetts. So it's behavioral 4+, and I currently have 4 behavioral, 3 coming from Mulder and 1 from Colton.
And I have nothing to stop you, so you're gonna get an easy question for this first investigation. Congrats on that.
All right, so one of the things with the new checklist is that death for results is not, the one with the most possibilities anymore. So that's something to look forward to when you play with the new checklist. Like, you're not going to rely on the same questions. Like, evolutionary is not the one that has the most affiliation, etc. So I'll just ask at random, is your result manipulation?
My X-Files result is not manipulation, but that was a good guess. As you said, death isn't necessarily the low-hanging fruit it was with the original checklist, so it does give us a little more pause when we're contemplating what characteristic question we want to ask. And I do want to give a shout out to one of our live viewers, Worf's Boot Shivs. Great name. Still have yet to play my first game and have just started buying cards. Your channel has been a great resource. Awesome to see more gameplay. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for that wonderful compliment.
Yeah, that's great. All of your hard work putting together the videos, etc. It really pays off.
It is a joy to combine both my love of this game and video editing. I find very therapeutic. It's like I feel like I'm creating art. So putting those two together has just made for I can't think of a better hobby to spend my free time working on. It's really fun to do, and just the little bit of feedback that I get from our community is just it's motivating. I mean, I've got motivation in plenty, but that little bit of extra feedback, you guys, I can't thank you enough for. Anyway, so bravo on that first investigation, Guillaume, but you're not done because you've got another site to investigate.
Yeah, so for anyone interested, like, manipulation allowed me to cross off 7 possibilities, so not bad.
Not bad at all.
Okay, so that site is going to the Discord. Yes. Okay, we'll see. So moving on to the second site, it's observation 4+. Phoebe Green only has, well, she had 3 observation actually, which is not bad. And I'm going to remove Phoebe's game effect token to send Mulder to Georgetown to join her. So now I have 5 observation for now before the bluff.
And you're going to have to work on getting me a clip from Fire to represent that effect, which we very rarely ever see that effect done by Phoebe Green. So bravo on that. And the bluff is somewhat innocuous in that it's not going to prevent your investigation, but it is going to give one of your 2 agents a little bit of a headache. And that is the sinus cavity implant. And because it was face down, I will be deducting nothing from my conspiracy pool to pay for it. And I'm going to play on one of your agents to decrease that agent's res value by 1. This card is removed when a healing card is played on the agent. And I'll go ahead and put that. I'll go ahead and shove that sinus cavity up Phoebe Green's nose because, she was just so annoying in that episode, right?
Yeah.
And Mulder, he's been through the ringer. If anyone's seen some of the later seasons on X-Files, he's been up close and personal with aliens enough.
I think at that point he would welcome a mere sinus cavity implant over what he got.
He's like, yeah, you think that was bad? I got my chest like sawed open and things like that. Later on, come on, that's nothing. Worst case, she's just gonna, have.
I think we just spoiled something for David, but
I probably did. So David,
that's what you get, David, for not watching the rest of the seasons after 3 years or 4 years with us.
25 years. Come on, no excuse. All right, so we've got the sinus cavity implant, more or less functions as a resource card, even though it doesn't have the keyword resource, but it's basically placed on Phoebe Green as a reminder that she now has a res value of 0. But you know what? If you keep Blevins in the bureau, you really won't even notice that. Anyway, I do not have anything else I can play to upend your investigation, so congrats. You got yourself another question.
So ask, is your result physiological imbalance?
My X-Files result is not physiological imbalance. I don't know why I thought that was a method question. So is Georgetown, or sorry, the containment facility is not method?
No, it's result as well.
It is result? Okay. That shows how much I play containment facility. But I do know it's that containment facility was located in Fort Marlene, Maryland, not Georgetown. So that's actually a typo on that X-File card. So yeah, it jabs, I cross. But bravo, Guillaume, on that double header investigation, because now you've scratched off quite a few possibilities for my hidden X-File, and you probably got me down to somewhere in the neighborhood of like 26 remaining, give or take.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's a great start for the travel deck. So if David Peace is watching, I'm sure he's very much enjoying how this game has started up to this point.
Okay. So both sides are discarded, and unless there are other cards that you'd like to play, I'm ready to move to the debriefing phase.
I got nothing I can play, but I do have to discard a couple, and
I need to discard one.
I'm going to have to get rid of Aura of Invulnerability and Dr. Aaron Monty. Yeah, one thing about these decks is they're not only pretty tight compared to what Guillaume and I are normally used to working with, but they're pretty synergistic in that the cards really go hand in hand with one another, and there's a lot of possibility for combo effects. So sometimes getting rid of one card could upend some potential for awesome stuff to happen.
Yeah, I have some good cards. Okay, well, I'll just have to discard Section Chief Joseph McGrath.
Ooh. Well, I'm relieved of that. And with that, let's pass it over to me, and I'll draw my free card, and we'll get a new round going. New briefing phase is underway, and let's see if I can do just as well as Guillaume did in that last round. So, first things first, we're going to assess my team's resource points, for which Skinner has 1. However, because he's in the bureau section, he's going to be treated as a res 3. And Tom Colton has 2. Section Chief Blevins has 1, but again, like Skinner, because he's in the bureau section, he will be able to, he's treated as a res 2. And so lastly, Mobox has 1 and Agent Kresge has 0. So that's a total of 8 resource points that I'm going to be able to add to my pool. That's going to take it up from 5 to 13. And let's see what we ought to buy here. I really wouldn't mind getting 2 sites. Maybe 4 cards. And that'll leave me with 9 in the pool. And what are you selling?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to sell this one as well. I hate to do it, but I have to sell travel arrangements for 2 and return board for 1. Yeah.
That's a shame because you might need Blevins to come out there and help you in a pinch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just pulled some really good stuff with those 4 cards, so I'm really glad I did. First things first.
I'll buy just.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, that's fine. No, I'm not buying any cards.
Not buying any. Okay.
No.
All right. So I'm gonna first play Hard Evidence for 2, and that's gonna add 5 tokens to my pool, which is gonna take it up from 9 to 12. Which is good because I've got other things here now. And I'm going to play Street Contacts for 1. And actually, I'm going to use Tom Colton's resource point to pay for it because it has the keyword criminal investigation. So Street Contacts is free. I'm really glad that came up because I'm going to go in and get me a witness. And it's such a relief that came up because I don't have my usual manners to call upon. And so, Guillaume, thanks to Street Contacts, I'm going to find... I've got Senator Matheson.
I forgot who does the resource generating thing for bureaucracy. Is it Mr. General?
Good guess. Yeah, I was looking at either her or Matheson because he's a resource witness as well. But I'm thinking I'm going to go with 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 because she came up, or well, I had Street Contacts, and if it came up or Michelle 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 came up early enough, I'd go ahead and play her. If it came up too late in the game, I would just sell her. So it was either going to be that or Matheson, whichever came up first, and that way Matheson can at least contribute to bureaucracy if I decide I want to, go to 2 sites, which I'm kind of hoping I can do. So that's kind of where I was in a bind because I do have 2 sites, but I might need a lot of bureaucracy to go around. But I'm thinking, let's go with Michelle 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬. And thanks to Street Contacts, I'm going to be able to bring her out. And she's a witness resource who is placed in the bureau section because it doesn't tell me where she lies. So resource cards that don't tell you where they're placed automatically default to the bureau. And for the cost of 3, which takes my pool down to 9, Michelle 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 is going to add 1 to my pool every time a keyword computer or bureaucracy card is played. And now let's head out of briefing and into healing. And we'll skip that, obviously, because no one's in the hospital section at this point. And for requisition, guess what, Guillaume? I pulled the cell phone.
Oh,
one of the 4 cards that came up. So I'm glad I bought 4. And for the cost of that, which takes my pool down to 5, I'm going to be able to requisition this cell phone to A.D. Skinner. And so that's going to make it easy for him to hang out in the bureau section and file his paperwork while the rest of the agents go out and investigate some strange goings on. So now let's head into deployment, and we're going to send Colton, Blevins, Mobox, and Kresge out to the field. And Skinner will be hanging by his Nokia if he should be needed. Now we're going to head into case assignment, and we're going to be potentially sending the team to the Excelsius Day Convalescent Home in Worcestershire, Massachusetts. That is a multi-site with the keywords occult investigation and criminal investigation, motive, and method. And I'm going to use Mobox's resource point to pay for that because it has the keyword occult investigation. And I'm also going to put down another site, the UFO wreckage in Townsend, Wisconsin, another multi-site with the keywords alien investigation and bureaucracy, motive and result. And I'm going to pay 1 for that. However, because it does have the keyword bureaucracy, I'm going to generate 1 right back, courtesy of Michelle 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬. And I'll turn it over to you.
So no bluffs.
No bluffs at all. And before we go any further, Guillaume, I want to address a question that was posed to us from Paul, one of our Discord members, And Paul is asking, why are these checklists different than the standard checklist? Are you using new X-File cards? And I'll go ahead and let you answer that, Guillaume.
Oh yeah, yeah, we mentioned that at the beginning of the game. So yeah, we are using new X-Files cards. It's a new checklist that Stephen and I worked on. It's 41 new X-Files from season 3 and season 4, and so that means a new checklist as well.
Yes, and so just like the previous checklist, you're going to see the same characteristics that you saw represented in the original one under affiliation, motive, method, and result, everything ranging from alien to evolutionary to primordial, the same common motives, the same methodology, the same results. All of those are represented in there, but the distribution is a little bit different from the original checklist in that you may have heard us say earlier that death, which was the low-hanging fruit on the original checklist with 13 possibilities, isn't necessarily looking as good on this one because we wanted to change it up and make some other characteristics seem a little bit more appealing with each of these 4 checklist expansions that we're putting out. For example, on this one, we have a total of 9 government affiliation X-Files. And you'll know, Paul, from playing quite a few of these games, that evolutionary was the low-hanging affiliation on that original one because that one had 9 while all the other affiliations had only 8. But in this case, government has 1 additional X-File compared to the other 4, and we're going to make it so that every one of these checklist expansions that we put out, each of the affiliations, alien, government, primordial, and occult, will each have the opportunity to be the low-hanging fruit on the 4 checklists that we plan to release in the forthcoming years. So very exciting stuff. I think that about covered it, right, Guillaume?
Yeah, and also just to mention that actually you did come up with, I went with the I worked on the graphic side of those cards, but you actually did like all the work coming up with all of those titles and all of those characteristics for each of the X-Files. And also you went to the trouble of for season 4 and for season 5 and 6, you went to the trouble of actually making sure that the affiliation of the X-File matched the adversary card if there was an adversary card in that particular season expansion. So I think you've done a great job making that feel coherent. So bravo to you.
Thank you. Yes, and you helped me with that too, because obviously with you spearheading like season 6 for one, and also sometimes it was hard, like when you get to certain seasons, and sometimes you have too many X-File episodes in one season that are just way too heavy in occult, and then it just becomes a question like, okay, how can we balance this so that one particular characteristic isn't a complete runaway? We got to obviously make it so that there's some balance in there. It didn't take us long to do, thankfully, because we were working in tandem on it. But yeah, it was fun, but only for brief moments where I felt like I was racking my brain trying to make sure that this was going to be a cogent checklist that had a fairly equal distribution. And I think, by and large, we have done an even better job than the original one. As everyone knows who's played this game, the result of death is prevalent 13 times on that checklist, and none of the characteristics on this checklist are represented 13 times on there. So I think we struck a even better balance. We did have some hard time like finding X-Files that corresponded to things like abduction, so it was, but we were able to make it work so that it actually feels a little bit more balanced. And by playtesting these in these games now, we'll be able to make sure that it is just as serviceable in addition to the checklists that came before it. So this is why it's very fun to be playtesting this now and just seeing how well it works. But great question, Paul. Thank you for asking that. And so, Guillaume, I think you were saying that you have no bluffs.
Yeah,
no bluffs. All right. Well, now it means I'm really going to have to try to spread these guys out because I don't want the site to have to get discarded. So let's see here. I do have the luxury of Skinner in the Bureau who can contribute as needed. So how do we want to do this? Let's say this is a little risky, but let's send Colton, Mobox, and Agent Kresge to the Excelsis DA convalescent home, and we'll send Section Chief Blevins over to the UFO wreckage in Townsend, Wisconsin. So yeah, he's gonna kind of solo it, but not really. Let's start off with the Excelsis Day convalescent home, because that seems like I'd probably have a better chance of success there. And we're going to apply our criminal investigation skills to this one, Guillaume. And the prerequisite is 5. And so Colton has 2 criminal investigation, Mobox has 3, Kresge has 1, and Skinner is going to be able to contribute an additional 2 to that, which is going to bring the criminal investigation skill check up to 7.
So
what do you got for me?
Well, I have one event. I'm going to pay 5 to play unexplainable time loss.
Oh no, not unexplainable time loss. All right, well, let's see. I don't think I can't stop that. I got nothing. As far as sciences goes, I only have 1 from Colton and 1 from Mobox, and nothing in my hand is going to. Nope. You got me on that one. So unfortunately, the unexplainable time loss is going to end my turn immediately, and I'm going to send Excelsis Day to the discard pile as well as my other site. So
actually, that was my question, because we decided that we would not play unexplainable time loss until the investigation phase. But since it means the card says the current player's turn ends immediately, so no debriefing phase. So since it ends, like, do those 2 sites remain in play for the next turn? Because it's not like you investigate and you fail and you have to discard them. You just end. Like, it's like you're freezing things and you're moving to my turn. But then because when I've played unexplainable time loss, I usually play it, like, let's say during the case assignment phase, for instance. So no agents have been assigned to the site, so yeah, the sites are gone. Or maybe I would even play it before the case assignment phase. So there is no question about the sites. But it's what do you think? Should the sites be discarded? There are no bluffs, but we are stopping things like now. There is no debriefing either, so
I don't think I've ever conceived of using it that way. Like I think my gut says that if there's no bluffs attached to it, that it would get discarded. It seems weird that we would be able to pick up, like, because I'm thinking of the next turn where it circles back to.
Yeah, true. It would just be like delaying your investigation instead of just stopping it.
It seems a bit awkward going back to me, much as I would like that, because now I'm going to have to draw another site before to have a chance to investigate anything. But yeah, I think the way we've always done is we discard the sites unless there's a bluff, face down bluff still attached to it. So we'll keep true to that, and we'll pass it over to you. On the plus side, I don't have to discard it. Well, no, I only have 7. I have 7 cards, so I wouldn't have had to discard anything anyway. All right. Well, on the plus side, I was able to get Michelle Jenner and the cell phone out there, but now I need to be able to investigate something. But that's going to have to wait for another time. So, Guillaume, go draw your free card if you haven't already done so, and you got yourself a new briefing phase.
So I drew my free card. I'm going to generate my rise, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's me at 16, and 2 of those have to be used to buy cards. And so in addition to Mulder's 2, I'm going to draw 2 more.
Okay.
And back to you.
Thank you. And I'm going to sell the shotgun for 6. And I'll get rid of evasive maneuvers as well, much as I'd like to keep it, knowing which adversaries you have in your deck. But I need to be able to stop you, otherwise this is going to be a very one-sided game. So with those two, I'm going to have 17 conspiracy points, and I think I'll just get me a wad of 5 cards, which will leave me with 12 in the pool, and hopefully some decent arsenal in my hand. Over to you.
So, so no healing, no requisition, and for case assignment, where are we going? For case assignment, we're going to go to Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Okay, sciences.
Yeah, it's too bad that I didn't have that one.
And it's from prior, so there you
go.
But
it makes sense. It's from prior, but I had another site from Massachusetts, I think, in my play.
Yeah.
I know it would have been good for driving, but who knows? Still have more rounds to play. So Cape Cod, Massachusetts, sciences 4+, and it's an affiliation question, and I'll wait for any bluffs that you may have.
Affiliation.
Oh, and I didn't pay for it. I'm going to use Mulder's last token to pay for it.
Sounds good. I'm gonna. Let's go with 2 bluffs on that one.
Okay, so I'm going to send everyone who is in the field. I'm going to send them to the site, and I have 4 sciences. Yes, so
4 sciences. Just barely. Yeah, it's not easy without Scully.
No.
And the first bluff, because we like to reveal our bluffs one at a time. That's how we roll.
Yeah.
The way it should be. First one is nasty surprise. One of 2 nasty surprises. Oh, no, actually, no, it's the only one in my deck. Yeah, this is one where I only had 1 nasty surprise. So unless you want to negate that, Guillaume, I'm going to be adding 5 tokens to my pool.
Go ahead.
All right. Actually, it's only 3 once you factor in the cost. And that one is discarded. And the second bluff is Sheriff Daniels. And for the cost of 2, Sheriff Daniels is going to change the site prerequisite to Subterfuge 3.
Which my team cannot make because Mulder, as we said, like Colton and Green, you'd think they have Subterfuge, but they actually do not. But I'm going to have to pay 2 to play Langley.
All right, well done on that. And Sheriff Daniels is discarded. And that's all I have for you. Ask away.
All right, so it's an affiliation question. So I'll see which... Is your affiliation primordial?
My X-Files affiliation is not primordial. You knew I was going to say not primordial. Well, I'm glad because right now at this point, you have just a breakaway lead, and I haven't even passed the start line as far as questions go.
But with this game, we know that all it takes is 1 question, and you can be in the lead.
Quite possibly, yes. And I'm glad we got the unexplainable time loss out of the way, so I don't have to worry about that unless you pull a grid pattern search. I do have some adversaries to worry about, though, and I was very mindful of their activators when
because we do know what is actually in our opponent's deck. So I have to say, I think I looked, but I did not make it a note to just remember everything. I knew that there were some cards in my deck that aren't going to be useful against your team. In particular, I do have shutting down the X-Files.
Yep.
So I know that one will be useless if it comes up.
I have that one, but it won't be useless.
No.
If it comes up. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was refreshing my memory on your travel deck, but this was a very interesting situation in that obviously we knew what our opponents were bringing. However, we're sticking adamantly to the sample deck. Nothing's changing, so we're not able to modify it based on what our opponent chose as their sample deck. We're in it no matter what, which is still representative of a typical game. Is you're bringing what you think is going to help, and you don't know what your opponent's going to bring. In this case, we know, but we just don't have the luxury of changing it up in anticipation of that.
Yeah, the one thing that is different, well, not different, but I only have one copy of I think it's the Women's Health Clinic site from Truth Out There. So there were 2 copies in the deck, but I only have one copy of that particular card. So that is the one difference. It does not affect, the
Did you add another site to sort of keep the balance in there? No?
No, it's one less site.
One less site. Well, you know what? We're going to have to make sure you get another women's health clinic. So you only have like, what, a couple copies at home?
I only have one copy. Like there are some of the Truth Out There cards. The rare cards, I only have one copy of them. Most of them anyway. Because I remember when I first came back to collecting the game, I think it was Bob Mackey on eBay. Like, there is that seller on eBay that sells promo cards, and and so I was able to purchase one lot. It was all of the rare from the Truth Out There, and I also bought all of the promo cards from him.
All right. I'm just making a note of that because I'm pretty sure I have like 5 women's health clinics, and I don't need 5. So I can send you one of those. So then that way you get to have, because you should have it. Ideally, you want to have at least 2 copies of every card, because then that way you have the chance of putting up to 2 copies in any of your decks. So we'll make sure that you're not feeling any of those gaps. Anyway, let's continue on. And I think we're heading into debriefing now at this point.
Yeah, and I have 7 cards in my hand.
And I've got 1 too many. Oh my gosh. And I really don't want to part ways with them. Let's get rid of Detective Kelly Ryan. And those were the 2 bluffs her and Monty. I was really wanting to pull them out and be like, see, these bluffs actually have some value if you build your deck the right way. But in both my last 2 rounds, they were the odd man out. So, all right, I'll have to find another way to use those cards at a later point. All right, so I have 7. Ready to pass back to me?
Yes.
Are you ready for him to pass it back to me, Cholera?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. I'll draw my free card, and we got a new briefing phase underway. And once again, I'm going to generate 3 resource points from Skinner because he's in the bureau section. I'm going to generate 2 from Colton, 1 from O'Box, and only 1 from Blevins this time because he's now in the field section. So it's going to give me 7 resource points, which will take it up to 12. And how's about, it would be nice if I could get another site. Let's go with 4. 4 cards. Over to you.
So I'm going to sell the USGS quadrant map for 4. I would have loved. I have Blevins in the bureau, so I actually could have equipped him with the map. But it's one of those equipment cards that I feel the cost is just too much for what it does.
Yeah, it is weirdly, for a search card, it just seems overpriced. And that seemed to be the case for some of the Truth Is Out There edition exclusive cards. There was also the Taking Chances card that costs 4 CP to search for any adversary. Granted, that's not a bad effect, but when you pay 4 and you're going into Fish and Adversary, you're very cost mindful because losing 4 conspiracy points could really make the difference in being able to play that adversary. There's also the false leads card that costs like 7 or 8 to just remove a card from the, I think a witness from the game. I was like, come on, that's so ridiculous.
And I think it would be one thing, but if you look at the Scully set cards, like you got travel plans, and I think it only costs, well, is it 2? And then you just play it, and you get to search your deck for 2 sites, and then you can play those sites for free.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy. And you can get mono sites, and and like 2 mono sites that cost 4, and you just got a bargain with travel plans. Yeah,
like
yeah.
travel plans is under cost, and US quadrant map is over. Like US quadrant map, I would say 2. Because you do have to have an agent
3 at most. 3 at most. But 2 sounds fair, because street contacts cost like 1 to go get a witness. So there's a very big discrepancy in some of these search cards. 1 breath also costs 4 to go in and get an event, whereas the Scully sets Call for Help costs 4, and that card's free. So if anything, it seems like where Truth is Out There edition exclusives seem collectively overpriced. Then you have the Scully set over here, where everything just seems ridiculously inexpensive at times. So it's interesting how that worked itself out for those cards. Though there's a question of how much of those cards got play tested. They did have some revisions on them, which suggests they might have been play tested. But then again, there's also, just as we know from working on our expansions, that when we first draft the mock-ups of these cards, we put them out there for the team to do a review before we ever get to play testing to find the obvious flaws, right? So it's possible that might have been a similar standard operating procedure for playtesters. First, they reviewed them, and they just looked at them and made suggested change. Possibly, maybe not. We don't know. We haven't really spoken with anyone in Next Games to know exactly all the steps that occurred in the playtesting process.
But it seems that they did playtest with those black and white cards without any graphics. So it seems that there probably should have been at least a period of playtesting before they moved to actually designing the actual cards. True. And maybe after that they would also playtest some more, and maybe at that point they would make some changes. But from what we know, I think that they were maybe in a rush, and maybe there weren't as many people working on that expansion as there had been for the premiere edition, maybe. So yeah, I think I
would like to know whoever it was that thought, okay, let's make Detective Qiao have 0 res, and be like, okay, seriously, what were you thinking with that?
Although looking at some of the documents that we have, I do think that there was actually like a note saying 1.
He was corrected, but who initially conceived of him having 0? Well, I think they had him initially. He was cheaper too, right?
Yeah. Okay. I think his cost was
it 2 at 1?
Like 2. I think it was 2 and 0 res.
Yeah. Now that might have been fairly consistent, because you look at Manners, he's 2 and he has 0 res. Maybe that actually would have probably would have been acceptable, but not the current iteration.
But 3 0 res and your opponent can pay to send you back? No way.
It's awful. It's awful iteration of that, but maybe we'll correct that someday. Wink, wink. All right, so now I've got my handful of cards, and we're going to skip past the healing phase, and we're going to skip past the requisition phase as well. And for deployment, let's just keep everyone as they are. We're going to leave Skinner in the bureau and the other 4 gents out in the field. And for case assignment, I only drew 1 site, so I'll have to make do with that. And it is Ellen's Air Base in Idaho. And that cost me 2, but I'm going to use Colton's point to pay for it, because it has the keyword bureaucracy. And I'll deduct 1 from my pool. And Michelle Generu is going to generate 1 right back, because, again, it has the keyword bureaucracy on it. And it's affiliation question. Should it be successful, Guillaume? What do you got for me? Oh, I forgot to play that card. Darn it. There was a card I was supposed to play earlier, but I forgot about it.
Okay, well, I have 1 bluff.
1 bluff on Ellen's Air Base. Let's just go ahead and send everyone to the site, and we'll be applying our bureaucracy skills to it, for which Colton has 1, Mobox has 1, Blevins has 3, and Skinner is going to be able to contribute 3 to it as well, for a total of 8 bureaucracy. That's double what I need to make this skill check. So you're really going to have to hit me with something pretty powerful this time, Guillaume.
Yeah, actually that is it. Yeah. So the bluff is unnatural aging. It's 5, but it costs 4, sorry, since it was face down.
Yep. And actually, tell me the keywords on that.
It's alien and phenomena.
Yes. Yes. Finally. I rarely ever get to play this card, but I'm going to pay 4 to play Hell Money.
Oh, what a waste of a card.
It is a waste of a card, and I would rather have sold it for CP, but I like that I'm getting to play it.
No, I was talking about me, like waste of CP.
Yeah, waste of CP on that. No, Dave Meyer's watching, he'd be like, Hell Money. Who runs with Hell Money? All right, so yes, with Hell Money, I was able to negate 1 keyword phenomena card, which was one of those keywords on unnatural aging, which is a damn good bluff. If you've seen my top 5 bluffiest bluff cards, that one is, I think, number 3 on the list. Great card, but unfortunately, it's not going to get its man this time. For Hell Money had something to say about that. Nice. All right, so you're not sitting on a whole lot of conspiracy points now as a result of that, but
no, and well, that's all that I could play, actually.
That's all you're going to get to play? All righty. Yes. So first successful site investigation for my team. And with that, we've been awarded an affiliation question. And Guillaume, let's say, gosh, this is a new checklist. And trying to big brain this. Did you maybe pick one from an episode that you just really, really like? There are so many good choices on this one. And
good thing with those checklists too is that we'll be tempted to pick at least one card one time, because we want to try them all.
Nothing's jumping out at me, but I'm gonna go against the grain and not ask government, which is the low-hanging fruit this time. Let's go with Primordial. Guillaume, by any chance, is your X-Files affiliation Primordial?
No, it's not.
All right. Thought I was gonna maybe have that was my chance to come back. Not out of it yet, but it would have been oh so nice. So I don't have the luxury of Yoast checklist on this, so I gotta scratch off with a sort of color it. All right. Well, that's that. All right. 8 possibilities eliminated right there, Guillaume. So it's not a complete one-sided game here. Now, let's see if we have anything else we want to play. Yes, actually, I have one other thing I want to play. Oh, no, I'm not going to actually play it yet. So I've got, I've scratched off 8 possibilities from your X-File, yes. And I'm going to see, this is the point where I would be allowed to ask an identity question. All right. I'm going to ask an identity question, Guillaume. Ballsy, right?
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yep. And I'm going to ask, by any chance, is your X-File Dr. Kevin Scanlon?
No, it's not.
All right. Well, that just shaves off one more possibility from Guillaume's X-File. Just bear with me while I scratch that one off. All right. So, because I guessed incorrectly, at Guillaume's X-File, that means he gets a penalty question. However, I'm about to play blackmail for 1. And because it has the keyword bureaucracy, Michelle Generou is going to generate that one right back. And I'm going to play blackmail when I have just incorrectly guessed the identity of an X-File. Select a team in the Bureau. If the team successfully completes a Bureaucracy 4 skill check, your opponent does not get to ask a penalty question. And Skinner, surprise, surprise, has 4 Bureaucracy to his name. So therefore, you do not get to ask your penalty question.
That is unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Unless you want to play if you had 5 conspiracy points, you could play alien experimentation, but actually I don't even think that's in your deck. So
no way around. If I had it, that would be 5 CPs well spent just to be able to ask a question. But yeah, no, I do not have that card.
Pretty cool card. And that is a good card to include in a bureaucracy themed deck. It's better to be played when you've narrowed it down a little bit more, but at this point, I'm just trying to play catch up as best I can.
Yeah, and I have to say that we talked about season 6 at the beginning of the recording, and I have because that scene from One Breath, it's almost you find the exact same scene in One Son with Mulder once again pointing his gun at the cigarette smoking man. So I do have that scene on a card, and it more or less has to do with being able to ask an identity question. It's a conspiracy card, and it's unless your opponent, if your opponent is not able to make a successful bureaucracy 4+ skill check, then they do not get to guess the identity of your X-File after a successful investigation. So they can still ask the characteristic question. That's not, but they cannot ask an identity question as well.
Okay, interesting. I like that you're playing to that similarity between that scene in One Son and this one, because in fact in that episode, the cigarette smoking man says to Mulder, and maybe you actually put this in the flavor text. I remember looking over a gun barrel at you once before, right?
Yeah, and that is the flavor text, which is why I really wanted to have. Well, that's a great scene, but I wanted to have a callback to the card as well. Have something like similar skill check. So yeah, that's a little preview of one of the season 6 cards.
Very nice. Now I'm gonna actually just show off my little X-Files encyclopedic knowledge right there, and I'm gonna call that scene out for being a little bit faulty in its in its reference. He says, "I remember staring over a gun barrel at you once before."
Actually,
Mulder.
yeah, he did it.
Yeah,
I think it was in Talitha Kumi, right?
Talitha Kumi, which is represented on the veracity in question bluff card. So he has actually looked over a gun barrel at Mulder not once but twice. But somehow he seemed to have just conveniently forgotten that scene in Talitha Kumi. But it wasn't as historic as that scene in One Breath, so maybe it's a little bit easier to forget. Plus, he's had guns shoved in his face so many times over the years, he's got a hard time keeping track of all of them. All right, so, well, that was a successful investigation with a little bonus question. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out, but nevertheless, I'm still in this. I'm going to discard Ellen's airbase.
And I'm going to, before we exit the turn, I'm going to pay 2 to play Rejuvenating Caves.
Oh, very nice. Good old Rejuvenating Caves. And I need to get rid of something. Hate to do it, but I'm going to have to get rid of Private McAlpin. Ready to go?
Almost.
Oh, yes, you're playing Rejuvenating Caves. So that one, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware, Guillaume is placing 10 tokens on his card after he's paid 2 to play it. So Guillaume's got 10 tokens on Rejuvenating Caves, and starting on his next turn as the conspiracy player, he's going to be able to take up to 2 tokens from that at any time, and he's going to be able to add them to his conspiracy pool. So good card, good resource card to have. Unfortunately, Guillaume, I no longer require that scene that clip from you for Rejuvenating Case because I always get a copyright claim on it because of Mark Snow's memorable music. Fortunately, it's a really good musical score, but I can't use it in my episodes, unfortunately. All right.
Yeah, that is strange. It does not seem like one of, because you've used clips with musical score before, right? So
sometimes it gets called out, but that one in particular, and there's something about it that like reminds me of like the tubular bells from The Exorcist or something. I don't know. Like the YouTube bots are able to pick it up.
So maybe if you want to, like, you'd actually have to insert the clip while we are saying, okay, I'm going to play Rejuvenating Caves, for instance, and while we talk, you have to insert the clip, but with no music and with our voices talking over it. That's the only option.
It's the only option. Maybe I'll do that, but otherwise, I'm like, well, you know what? I got enough clips that I incorporate into each episode as it is.
Or you could just
add that one go
and just put some completely random music on it.
That's true, and I could just I can get something free out of the YouTube library. That's true. I could always do that. All right. So okay. I think you got your free card, right? You ready to generate some resource points?
I did now.
All right. Okay, so. New briefing phase. Free card, okay. New round. Generate that beautiful res.
So 6 res. It's made 16. And in addition to Mulder's 2, I'm going to buy 3 more cards, I think. 4. So that will be... Yeah, I'll go down to 10. And I'll draw 6 cards.
Nice. And I'm going to sell Skinner Intervenes for 3. And I'll take my conspiracy pool up to 16. And I'm going to get me... Let's get 5 cards, leaving me with 11 in the bank. Back to you.
Oh, so many cards. All right, so no healing, no requisition. Everyone will remain where they are. And yes, for case assignment, we will return to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And it's Sciences for plus, and it's still affiliation. It costs
still affiliation.
2. So I'm going.
Alrighty. In that case, 2 bluffs.
And I'm sending everyone to the site. I have 4 sciences.
And I have 2 bluffs to throw at you. The first of which is radioactive area. Increase a site prerequisite by 1 point. In addition, if the team fails the skill check, each agent on the team takes 1 point of damage, unless they have the Geiger counter attached, which none of them do. And that's going to cost me 2. So I got 9 left in my pool. And now your sciences 4 skill check is a little shy of the new prerequisite, of which is sciences 5.
Okay, so I'm going to pay 2 to Langley that card.
Alrighty. Langley has it. Once again, that's both Langleys you've played now. So yeah, I know you're not sitting on... What's that?
You're clear.
Let's see what happens now, unless you got a grid pattern that you're sitting on. How many resource points do you have? 5?
6.
6. Okay, well, let's see what you can do about laser barrier. And I'm only going to deduct 1 from my pool to pay for that one.
So which agent do you want to...
Let's say Phoebe Green is not going to be able to apply her sciences to that skill check.
Oh, that's I can't do that one either. Huh. There are two cards that could have been useful, and one in particular, but only if I had sent Blevins to the side as well. So no, unfortunately, I
Where's
cannot.
travel arrangements when you need it?
Yeah, although that would have ended up costing me quite a lot of money. Let's see. Mulder has one, Colton has one, and even with that card. Yeah, no. No, without Phoebe, there is nothing that I can do with the cards that I have.
All right, laser barrier has it, and
as it usually does.
It usually does, yeah, unless Langley has something to say about it. But before we exit the briefing phase, before we exit the investigation phase, I'm going to play my own rejuvenating caves for 2. And so, once again, I'm not using the clip from that episode for this one, even though it's like when rejuvenating caves comes up not once but twice, you would think I would probably have a scene from Genderbender in there to note that moment, but not anymore. All right, so 10 tokens are on that card, just like in Guillaume's case, and beginning on my next turn as the conspiracy player, I can take up to 2 from that and add it to my conspiracy pool, and that is that. Do you have anything you need to do before we head out of this round?
Well, I need to discard 2 cards. I'm going to discard Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm also going to discard Detective Thompson because it's completely useless against your team.
Oh, yes. I did note that when I was looking at your sample deck. I was like, well, he's not going to be able to use that one. But it's not to say you don't have any good bluffs in there. All right, let's part ways with local law enforcement are uncooperative. And now this is the time when you're going to play a criminal investigation site when it circles back to you.
Yeah.
Darn it. I've been sitting on that one since the beginning. All right. Back to me?
Yes.
All right. Free card. And once again, I'm going to generate 7 resource points, 3 from Skinner, 2 from Colton, 1 from Mobox, and 1 from Blevins. And that's going to take my pool up to 11. I'm going to give Colton his resource point back. And let's go ahead and buy 4 cards. Over to you.
So I'm going to sell those cards I'm going to sell driving because I do need some CP, unfortunately. And these are the 2 cards that I could have potentially played during the previous turn, but I have Sheriff John Taylor, but he only adds 1 to sign.
And what was the other one?
And I also had application for FBI resources approved, but it's Blevins in the bureau. So no. Nope. So driving 2, Taylor is 3, and application is 3. So that's a total of 8. Puts me at 9.
Yeah, I had a feeling because I remember building that deck, I did give you at least 1 sciences witness. I might have even put Dr. Bambi in there too. But I feel like you had at least 2 witnesses with sciences. And so I was like, that's why I made a point of choosing Phoebe Green instead of say Mulder's not contributing sciences. Like, well, what if he's got that 1 sciences witness in there?
And I'll buy 1 card. Yeah.
Okay. And I have to applaud you for holding on to driving as long as you did, because I knew you were just it's like you were just waiting for the opportunity for it to happen, and it's just you had to sell it when it's like you really at this point you I got to stop him. So something's got to go.
Looking at the sites that I've played Maryland and Massachusetts and Maryland, but they never came up at the same time. And I think now, of course, that in the subsequent turns, I will be drawing 2 cards that are from the same state.
But undoubtedly.
That's usually how it goes with this game. At some point, you're like, okay, I have to stop holding on to so many cards. Like maybe 1 card, like if you have an X, for instance, you want to hold on to that. But if in a couple of turns you haven't been able to use the cards that you have in your hand, maybe it's time to just let them go.
Yeah, I have a feel. If I have to guess, I think you're gonna pull Broad Street, Philadelphia, as your next site, because that's a criminal investigation site. I have a feeling you're going to draw that one. It's not one of the two states you're looking for, but I have a feeling it's going to be a criminal investigation site, most likely. So that's why I'm like figuring it's going to be Broad Street. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. So now they've got my batch of oh, I got Friend in the FBI. So let's play that now. And just like with Rejuvenating Caves, I'm going to put 10 tokens on that. And during my briefing phase, I can take up to 2 of them and put them in my resource pool. So we're still in briefing, Guillaume. So you know what that means. You can take the first 2 off of it now. And that will cover the cost of the card. And also, before we leave briefing, there's a card I kept forgetting to play. And I'm going to play it now. And that is Decreased Workload. And that cost me 1. However, because it has the keyword bureaucracy, I'm going to use Colton's resource point to pay for it. And I'm also going to generate 1 to my resource pool, courtesy of 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, because it has, again, the keyword bureaucracy on it. And I'm going to play during the briefing phase. 1 team in the Bureau may make a Bureaucracy 4 skill check, and we all know Skinner does that. If successful, choose 1 agent. The agent now has a res value equal to the agent's criminal investigation skill during the next briefing phase. Place this card below the agent to remind you of the increased skill. And I'm going to attach that to Agent Mo Box, because he's got criminal investigation 3. Pretty sweet, right?
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons I chose to have Mo Box on this team, because I knew I was going to include decreased workload, and I had to have an agent who's got at least, I was going for an agent, I was going to have 2 or more criminal investigation, but every agent need to have some bureaucracy as well. So it really came down to Mo Box and Tillman. But Tillman only had 2 criminal investigation. He did have, like, I think he's got 2 bureaucracy as well, but I was like, but Mo Box has 3 criminal. So decreased workload will work out so well on Mo Box. So there you go. Because the alternative was, the thing is, Mo Box cost 5, Tillman cost 4, and that's why Kresge got put in there, because otherwise it would have been Manners.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have decreased workload work to its optimal benefit. And so putting it on Mo Box is what's going to get you that, because he's a very hard-boiled detective. He's got 3 criminal investigation to his name. And not many agents have that. Clyde Brookman, I think, has it, though, even though he's not an agent, a law enforcement officer, though. All right, so I think that wraps it up. I'm glad we got to see that card get played. I played it only maybe 1 other time. All right, now we're going to exit briefing, and we're going to skip past the healing phase once again. We're also going to skip requisition as well. And for deployment, we're going to keep Skinner in the Bureau and keep the other 4 out in the field. And for case assignment, I'm going to lay down Folkestone, North Carolina. And that's a multi-site with the keywords bureaucracy and behavioral, affiliation and motive. I'm really, really nervous every time I play a motive site, knowing what you've got in your deck. And so that one costs 1. And so that takes my pool down to 7. However, because it has the keyword bureaucracy, I'm going to generate 1 right back thanks to 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬. And I'm also going to put down Eurisco Building in Crystal City, Virginia. That one also cost me 1. However, it has the keyword bureaucracy and computer, which 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 will generate 1 if either are present. So I get that 1 right back. And Crystal City, Virginia has not only computer and bureaucracy as its keywords, but method and result. So all 4 of the question characteristics are represented. Folkestone has affiliation and motive. Eurisco has method and result. But I know which 2 of those keywords mean the most to you, and it's motive and result, insofar as adversaries are concerned. But what can I do? These are the sites I pulled.
All right, so no bluffs.
No, darn it. Not making this easy on me.
No.
Yeah, there is no way I well, no, can I do this? Let's see. Skinner's 3. Yeah, there's no way I can investigate both. Well, let's see. This one has that stipulation, so will that work? 3. Nope. I'm just one shy. Unless nope. Let's see what we can do. All right, I'm going to send how am I going to do this? All right, I'm going to send Colton, Mobox, and Kresge to Folkestone, North Carolina. And I'm once again going to send Blevin solo over to the 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 building. All right. Let's see if this multi-site investigation pays off this time. Let's start with Folkestone, North Carolina, Guillaume, and we're going to be applying our bureaucracy skills to it, for which Colton has 1, Mobox has 1, Skinner's going to use his cell phone to dial in 3 more, giving me a total of 5 bureaucracy at that site.
And it's a multi-site, correct?
Yep. Motive and affiliation for that one.
Okay, so I'm going to pay 2 to play sleep deprivation.
Oh, okay. And that's going to decrease the skills of all skills on one agent by 1.
Yes, correct.
All right. And who's going to, pray tell, be afflicted with insomnia?
Well, Colton and Box contribute the same, so let's go with Colton.
Okie doke. And I'm going to play 2 to play Langley on that one.
Of course.
Of course. And guess what? I still have another Langley somewhere in my deck. So far, so good. My guys are fighting sleep, but they're still going strong.
I'm going to pay 5 to play Injured Relative.
Yikes. That's a lot. All right. I don't know if I... Oh, yes. Erlenmeyer Flask. I can play that for 4. Because that's going to negate any 1 card played against your team during a bureaucracy or alien investigation skill check. So 4 from that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, no, sorry. Mobox is going to pay for part of that because it has the alien investigation keyword on it. So I get 1 back from that. And actually, because it has bureaucracy as a keyword as well, Michelle Jenner is going to generate 1 from that. So effectively, I only paid 2 to negate that horrible, horrible bluff.
You keep adding insult to injury, don't you?
What? Come on. Oh yeah, with the that's exactly why Kevin Morris made the Don in the Kevin Morris Mafia. All right. Well, phew, good thing I had pulled that Erlenmeyer Flask because obviously I didn't have my other Langley on hand for that bluff.
Well, with one resource, with 1 CP, that's the only. I cannot do anything more now.
Thank goodness.
And that sucks because I was like, Injured Relative, I'm going to send Mobox to the hospital, and that way won't be benefiting from the decreased workload.
Oh, yeah. There was no way I was gonna. Dang, that would have hurt because it's not like it would be on the next time. Now
there's nothing I could do for the second side, but I was like, okay, for this one, I'm going to make sure that at least. But no.
That was a good call. I may not have thought of that in that moment, but man, that would have been so crushing because I'm like, how often do we see decreased workload get played? All right, well, I'm glad that worked out for so many reasons, but most importantly because I've got myself another question as of this successful site investigation, and I think I'll just once again take another crack at your X-Files affiliation. And Guillaume, by any chance, is your X-Files affiliation a cult?
No, it's not.
Come on. Where is this? brand new X-file hiding in this checklist here. All right, well, that's at least 8 more shaved off from there. Okay. So we'll send Folkestone to the discard pile. And now let's turn our attention to Euroscope building in Crystal City, Virginia. And we've got Section Chief Scott Blevins soloing it, and he's going to be applying his bureaucracy skills to the site, for which he's got 3, and Skinner's going to phone in 3 more bureaucracy for a total of 6. Now, unfortunately, you really spend a lot of conspiracy points trying to stop the Folkestone investigation. I don't know. Are you sitting on just a very cheap, effective bluff by any chance?
No, unfortunately, no.
All right. And with that, we've got either a method or a result question as a result of that successful investigation. And so let's see here, Guillaume. Shall we say... Wow. By any chance, is your X-Files method subterfuge?
Actually, yes.
Oh, nice. Now I think I may have suddenly made a dramatic comeback here, because that's going to shave off quite a few. Okay, so there's 2 evolutionaries remaining. Two government remaining. And 2 alien remaining. Wow. Now I wish I was sitting on the blackmail. Let's see. So I've got 2 in alien, 2 in government, and 2 in evolutionary left. But what I don't have is a blackmail. One in 6. How many do you have me down to at this point?
No, more than that. I still have 19 possibilities.
Oh. Well, I just want to see if out of the ones remaining, there's one that's kind of sort of jumping out at me now. Because I'm still banking on, like, because my part of me feels like, though you normally just choose random, because I mean, over the years, I mean, come on, those same 41 X-Files all the time. What's to be so excited about? But this is a brand new checklist with 41 new X-Files. And now that I've whittled it down to 6, this one is just screaming at me now. And I feel like, even though penalty questions have usually come back to haunt me, I just feel like something in me is just screaming this X-File. So, Guillaume, by any chance, is your X-File Eddie Van Blunt?
No, it's not.
Ah, I thought, because it was, I really thought I had you there. All right, because I thought, that's the episode with, like, Uncanny Seduction, Scully. I mean, it was screaming
I
at
do
me.
love that episode, so...
I really thought I had you there. Okay, well, I've got you down to 5, and you can ask either a method question or you can take a crack at my X-Files identity.
Is your method manipulation?
I think so. Where is it? Oh, no, it's not. It's like now I got to commit all of these new characteristics to my memory. Yeah. There's like 41 now, and some of them I don't quite have them all memorized on the original one, but quite a few of them I do. But this new one is just like, even though I wrote them, but it's 41 cards, and on top of that, each has 4 characteristics to remember. Interesting. Yeah, out of the 5 remaining, I'm like, I don't know which one you would have picked out of like a personal preference now.
No, maybe I didn't.
You might have just gone, at this point, I'm inclined to think now with the ones remaining, like you must have just gone random on this one. Because yeah, none of these are screaming at me now. So yeah. All right. So I think that about wraps it up here. Do I need to discard anything? No, I've got 7, thankfully. So no discard.
I actually, I'm going to do that now. But no, it's too late. I actually forgot to add the 2 from rejuvenating caves. I forgot to add them. So
would that have? Yeah, go for it. Would that have made a difference?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because suddenly you're like, haha, now I have Peter Tanaka.
No, that wouldn't change anything, so no regrets.
Okay, cool. All right. So, hey, your conspiracy pool isn't looking as depleted right now. So
no, but that. I rarely play rejuvenating caves, so I tend to forget it.
All right. So I think, do you need to discard anything?
No, I only have 3 cards in my hand.
Okie doke. Back to you.
All right, I'm drawing my free card. I'm going to generate my 6 res.
And I'm going to play red tape for 3. Unless you got a fro, Hickey.
No, but does that mean that since the res generated by Mulder have to be used to draw cards?
I think most people say that he just loses it. I'd be fine. But my feeling is that I'd be fine if he just kept it in, if he's able to just keep it in the bank.
Okay.
Because my feeling on mechanically speaking is that Mulder generates the 2 res, it goes into the pool,
but then you have to
subtract it.
Yeah.
So the argument is that because he's not able to draw cards, are we still just deducting the 2? I think most say yes, but I'm totally fine with just letting you keep it in there because I'd rather it play out that way. It's going to be hard enough seeing you get through this with only 3 cards in your hand. So happy to give you at least a little bit of leeway there because it's a friendly game after all.
Sounds good. Okay. So I will not be drawing any cards.
Now the question is, do you have a site? And if one of those 3 cards is a site, I'll be like, damn, that was a luck.
I did get to draw my free card.
That's true. You did get the free card. All right. And before we venture out of briefing, I'm going to just sell General Thomas Callahan for 4. That's going to take my pool up to 7. And I'm going to generate 2 more courtesy of Rejuvenating Caves, which gives me 9. And let's get 4 cards. All right, and let's see what you can do with just, well, I was going to say 3 cards, but actually 4.
So no healing, no requisition. Everyone will remain in the field. And hold on. Where is it?
It's a shame 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 doesn't generate from that red tape being played. Because I pretty much put every bureaucracy card under the sun in this sample deck. Sometimes in twofold.
So let's say I have street contacts in my hand, then that doesn't work, right? I cannot.
Yeah, it's searching.
Like he's drawing, like, usually draw the top card of your bureau deck. For cards like, or let's say if I had one of those cards that say search your bureau deck for something, is it considered drawing, or is it like?
I think so. Because I'm like, if you think about like, how else are you like for the remainder of the game, right? Or sorry, not the remainder of the game. It says during the remainder of this turn. Like, you're pretty much like, after the briefing phase is like the only way you're getting into that bureau deck. I mean, with commercial cards only, right? Is by search cards, really. Well, no, I take it back. Not in the menu, but beyond that. Yeah. So I'm inclined to think searching, even though, like, I know people in the Magic community might be like, searching and drawing are different things, but
I'm fine either way. I'm just asking, like.
Yeah, I think searching and drawing are. I think my guess is it falls under the same scope. There is like 0 people tuned into this right now, which is unfortunate, because I would really, really like to get just another person weighing in on what they think. But I'm gonna go with searching and drawing are the same.
Okay, sounds good. Well, in that case, we can go to debriefing now, because I have no sites in my hands.
It's too bad, because now that means I have to discard some stuff. And gosh, I don't want to, but I'm going to have to get rid of my second Private McAlpin, much as I was really hoping to see him get played. We don't see that guy come up often enough. And mind control. I was really hoping, but then again, I had to go and play my red tape, so I only got myself to blame for that.
Yeah.
Did you have a site in your hand? I guess you didn't, right? Because
no, I didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
Oh no, otherwise I would have played it.
Because I was still like thinking back to, like, I bet you his next site pulled is going to be Broad Street. I'm still leaning on that one. Telling you, it's going to be a criminal investigation site. I know they're in there. Okay, so debriefing. I've discarded my 2, and I've got 7. And do you need to get rid of anything? Well, you don't need to get rid of anything. No, you don't need to get rid of anything at all. But I need to get a new free card. And now we got a new briefing phase. And once again, I'm going to generate 7 resource points. Skinner's in the bureau, but Blevins is in the field. That gives me 11. And I'm going to take 2 from Friend in the FBI. Got 6 more left on Friend in the FBI. 13 in the pool at the moment. Oh, and Mobox actually generates 2 more, thanks to decreased workload. How awesome is that?
For you, good. For me, not so good.
All right. Decreased workload. Not a bad card, but I think, again, it's wise to have an agent who's got at least 3 criminal investigation to make it worth your while. And I think
because how much does it cost?
It costs 1, but which is wise to have like someone like Tom Colton who can pay for it, which he did, or say maybe a Michelle Generou who can generate 1 back. So effective, Colton paid for it with his resource point in that round. But otherwise it does cost 1. And so if you're just in the end putting on an agent to give them 2 res, it's like seems like a lot of effort to go through.
Yeah.
So grab an agent who's got 3 criminal or better. And if you have an equipment card attached to them that adds to criminal investigation, like what the government car does that. And so 1013, the stationary one, man, you'd be generating a lot of criminal investigation, or a lot of res from all that criminal investigation.
Right, so I'm going to sell Street Contact for 1 and Ambush for 2 because I do need the conspiracy. So that's 3 and 2 from the Rejuvenating Caves. So that's 5. And
I feel a little bit better that subterfuge card is in your deck, knowing what adversaries you've been sitting on, or well, not sitting on, but potentially sitting on.
I'm going to buy 2 cards. Three cards. And back to you.
And we'll once again skip the healing phase, and we'll also skip the requisition phase. And for deployment, let's just stay true to everything and keep everyone exactly as they are. The 4 gents are out in the field while Skinner's rifling away at his desk, just waiting to pick up that phone, answer the call, like the bat signal almost. All right, so for case assignment, oh crap. Oh wait, Guillaume, I never bought cards. Oh shoot. I generated, but I never bought.
Oh, I thought you had.
No, still have my 15 my 15 resource points in there. Well, I guess I'll just keep going since I already passed it up. Oh well.
Oh, you can do it now if you like.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind. Yeah, because otherwise I don't have a site because I generated and then somehow I went off on a tangent.
Oh well, then don't do it now then.
Don't do it then. All right, back to you.
No, you do it.
Okay.
No,
well, I mean, there's no guarantee I'm going to pull one anyway. Shoot. Let's see.
Well, with 15 resources, you have like more than enough to spend to get to a site.
I know. But I'm going to probably have to discard a lot too. Let's get 6 cards. Come on. Put like 25% of this deck is sites. So there's got to be a site in here if I'm getting 6 cards.
Yes, unless your opponent prevents you from drawing any cards, then you're probably guaranteed to get a site.
I'm good. Yep. All right. Thank you for letting me take that back. All right. And for the sake of the recording, we're going to skip past the healing phase. We're going to skip past the requisition phase. And for deployment, we're going to keep my 4 guys out in the field. We're going to keep Skinner in the bureau. And for case assignment, we're going to potentially send them to Central Prison in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's an occult investigation or criminal investigation site prerequisite of 5. And it will allow a motive or method question to be asked should it be successful. I'm going to use Mobox's resource point to pay for it because it has the keyword occult investigation. And actually, in those 6 cards, I got 2 sites. And the other one is Mattawa, Washington, and I'm going to pay 2 for that. Well, I'm going to pay 1 because I'm going to use Colton's resource point to pay for the other half. And Michelle Jenner is going to generate 1 right back. And that's a Bureaucracy 4 site prerequisite with a result question. And that's all the sites I got. So motive and method on Central Prison, result on Mattawa. So there's potential. There you have 5 conspiracy points. That's too much for the one, but not for the other. So how would I do this?
No bluffs.
No bluffs. And I once again have to divide and conquer here. Oh, let me just see, because Central Prison has that condition. Oh no, but it's useless because I already know your method, so never mind. Criminal. Well, I guess we'll keep doing what we've been doing, and we'll send Colton, Mobox, and Agent Kresge to Central Prison, and we'll send Blevins to Mattawa. And let's go ahead and start our investigation at the Central Prison, and we're going to be applying our criminal investigation skills to it, for which Colton has 2, Mobox has 3, Kresge has 1, and Skinner's going to phone in 2 more for a total of 8. Yeah, 8 criminal investigation. And I need 5.
Yeah, you're free to ask your question.
Awesome. And that's going to be motive or method, of which I already know the latter. So with 5 remaining, best I can do is maybe shave off 2, depending on the answer. And I'll go with that. Guillaume, by any chance, is your X-Files motive security?
Yes.
Oh, geez. Now I've got you down to 2. All right. Well, this could get really interesting now. If I decide I want to go that penalty question route. So your X-Files motive was security, huh? Interesting. 2 possibilities from 2 really good mythology episodes. 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 Smith or Unit 731. Oh boy. Those are some really fine episodes and some very fine cards too. Tough call. Guillaume, by any chance, is your X-File Unit 731?
Yes.
All right, finally. It only took me narrowing it down to 2 to get it, but I was like, maybe he picked 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 Smith because, I mean, come on, it's 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 Smith. But I went with Unit 731. I went against the grain on that.
Unit 731.
And yeah, did you want to share it on the screen?
Sure.
Or if you don't have the image, that's fine.
Yeah, I can.
We'll show the viewers there that lovely card from the beginning of the episode Nisei. Very iconic image right there. No sign of it?
I know it says there is something wrong with your file. Please try again. So I'll just try again.
That's all right. We can always just bring you into the big screen here, and you can just hold the card up to the screen if that's easier. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lovely, lovely brand new X-File card right there. Feast your eyes.
Actually, it's one of the few that I had printed for, as a test. So it actually has the back that those cards will have. So it's one of the real cards.
Isn't that beautiful, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, I love the blending of the 2 colors there. That is my favorite part about this new batch, because we're taking cards from 2 seasons and to make this checklist, but each season has its own respective color palette, and we're going to put those 2 color palettes together, and it just came together so beautifully. I'm so glad you thought of doing that when we were at one point scratching our heads about, well, which color palette are we going to apply to these 41 X-File cards? Are we going to go with the one from season 3 or the one from season 4?
Yeah, or with a different color altogether that would, be the same on each of the checklists.
So, and which eventually would have resulted in us running out of colors with all of these expansions. So I'm really glad that you wound up thinking of that. So I know you've got me down to, well, less than 19 at this point. I don't know how many you had me down with that penalty question, but do you want to take a guess what my X-File was while I try to load that image?
Are you Lord Kinboat?
No, but that was actually the X-File I was originally going with, and then I changed my mind, and I downloaded the other because that was the one I picked a different card, but then I accidentally downloaded Lord Kimbo by mistake. I was like, but that's not the one I wanted when I realized it, because it had sort of the same colors going, similar color scheme going on when I was looking at the image, and that probably just told you which one it is now, right? You want to take one more guess before I share? Which one?
Subliminal Killers.
Subliminal Killers. Okay. There it is. Lovely card. Can you see it?
Yes.
Excellent. Isn't that a beautiful card there? I love it's so colorful. And so is Lord Kimbo, by the way. That has a lot of colors going on in it too. But I really like the episode Wet Wired as well. So that's why I wound up choosing that one. So, and actually, because you just today made me an image, a background image for my upcoming edited games, and you used an image from Wet Wired to make that one. So
actually, it's not from Wet Wired.
Not Scully's. It's not Scully from Wet Wired. Oh, okay. No, it looks every bit like it.
Because originally, I actually thought that from that original playmat, I thought that was that scene from Wet Wired where she's holding a gun on Mulder, but when you look at images, it's like her eyes, they don't look the same. And I tried a few different possibilities, and I don't know, it's really hard to just, find the images based on the eyes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes like after a while, after trying out different possibilities, like I would, have a layer with the picture that I thought was the right one, and I would, remove that layer and show it just to try to see if it matched. And after a while, I was like, is that even Scully's eyes on the original playmat? Like after looking at it for so long, I was starting to get confused. But no, so I did look at some of. I have a folder with all of the promotional stills from the episode that I could find in good quality, because that can always be useful when you're creating the cards. Yep. And so I went with one from season 3, but I actually do not know which episode that is from, because you only see Scully. So maybe if I show it to you, maybe you'll be able to guess the episode. I'm sure you will.
I have been fooled.
Okay.
And so that was a really interesting game, by the way, because in the first 4 rounds, I had not even had a single question yet, and you were just, sprinting full speed ahead, while I was just like, maybe I'll start this race at some point. And then, like you said, it's just sometimes it just takes one question to just turn it around. But in this case, no, I still had to work. It really didn't boil down to one question. Even by the time I got that method question, I was already starting to catch up a little bit. I was showing signs of picking up the pace. But yeah, that one really changed quickly. Just took a while for the cards in my deck to really gel.
All right, so I'm going to bring out. So this is the episode.
This is the image. Pretty close. I mean, she's.
Yeah. So that is the one that I actually used for when I recreated the playmat. It's not the exact same image as the one on the original.
Close. It's pretty close.
It seems like the original one. It's almost seems like the Scully is looking up and on her right, and she almost seems scared. So I don't know which episode that is from. And that picture, do you know what episode that is from?
So also I wanted to note, it looks like on the original playmat, it also looks like she's got the bangs.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not that one.
Maybe early season 2, because she does have the bang, but she doesn't have them. Or late season 1, starting with Dooms.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, by the way, you were asking me which episode this is from, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is from Christmas Carol, isn't it?
No, it's from season 3.
Oh, it's from season 3?
Yes.
Oh wow, that looked like season 5 Scully. Oh, okay. Season 3. Okay.
So I was like maybe first half of season 3, maybe. I don't know, maybe the
Interesting.
list or something, or the walk, maybe.
This is from season 3?
Yes.
Okay, because yeah, her hair made me think of season 5 Scully, but okay, if I'm looking at season 3, okay, it's not Blessing Way, it's not Paperclip.
And I think
BPO.
even looking at her face, like I think her face got maybe thinner as the show, as the show went on. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely season 3. But
Okay.
I don't
And
know. To me,
it looks
I feel
like
like
it almost looks like a Christmas wreath is behind her, but they didn't have a Christmas episode in season 3. CCG was in January. Before
no, I think
it's not War of the.
it's just like flowers in a vase
Oh,
in
okay. It looked
front of
like a
me.
Christmas tree. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean it's
I don't know why. To me, I feel like maybe because it's one of those episodes that I don't really like, so I don't watch them often. So I
it
would say
can't be because of those features.
maybe I would say
Yep.
maybe the walk, but I'm not sure.
It could be.
Like when they're in the
I thought
jungle
she was
stuff.
wearing she wore a blue. She had a blue outfit in that episode, and it's weird how I know this, but I've seen them so many times. I could have sworn that was her in Christmas Carol, but no, that's fascinating. I would love to know if we can verify that image, because it really, like, I'm having a hard time placing it in anywhere in season 3. I can't, for life of me, I can't pinpoint it.
Or maybe if I just do Google image, then maybe that will.
Maybe it would tell us. That's fascinating. So anyway, while you're doing that, again, I want to thank everyone who was tuning in for the live chat. Paul, Wharfs, Boots, Shivs, anyone else. And of course, if you're watching this recording later on, of course, please leave a comment in there and let us know what you thought of the game. And if you think these were worthwhile sample decks. Again, if you decide you want to try out any of the 5 sample decks that I currently have on my channel, do let me know. Reach out to me and tell me how your game went. Every gameplay episode that I release is going to have a new sample deck tacked on at the end, but you can also find those sample decks posted individually on my channel as well, so they're conveniently referenced, and the deck list is in the description section of each of those videos, so you can access the deck list very easily, and you can build your own deck with it. So we've currently got a paranormal theme sample deck. We've got the bureaucracy one that you just saw today, and we have a computer themed one. We've got the travel deck that Guillaume used, and we've also got a 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 subterfuge sample deck as well. That's the one of the newer ones, and that one is one of the more recent additions, and so that one I'd be also very interested to see. But I've got a lot of great sample deck ideas floating around my head. I'm thinking about doing a slime ball deck, Guillaume, and that's going to utilize the keyword neutral characters like Colt, but also Colton in there as well. All the characters who are just too swarmy or just bad guys. So that one might possibly be the next one. But yeah, I got so many sample decks ideas that there's no shortage of them. I also want to, for those of you who are watching this either live or watch this in the very near future, stay tuned, because we have another live matchup taking place in about 48 hours from now. Actually, at this point, it's more like 46. But I'm going to be taking on Sky Evans over in Japan on Sunday night, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And it's going to be more like Monday over in Japan where he is by that point, because it's like 14-hour difference in our time zones. So Sky and I are going to throw down, and that's going to be exciting because he and I have only done I think 2 or 3 games at this point. So he's really fun to play. He's really fun to go up against, and I'm looking forward to it. It's really hard. I really enjoy playing with him. It's just with our with the drastic time change game, it's so hard to get a schedule or to schedule a game. But I love it whenever I'm able to. So I have my I do have my deck theme planned out, although I haven't built it yet. So yeah, if anyone wants to read the description of that video, so this guy might get a little bit of a sneak peek at what the deck is going to be, just based on the name of it alone.
Yeah.
Just what I mean, he's smart, so he might be able to infer at least some of the agents and stuff that are going to be included in there. So that'll be exciting. So tune in for that. Although for you, it'll also be like very early Monday when that game is going down. So check out the recording when you can.
Yeah, I'll look at the replay.
Yeah, totally. I'm hoping it's gonna be a very fun one. It's a theme deck. I may have done variations of it in previous games, but none in recent history. And stay tuned for the following weekend because I'm going to take on Dave Meyer from Illinois, and that's going to be Friday night. I believe it's 9:00 Central Standard Time. That one's the following Friday, week from now. So we got a lot of live games happening in the near future, which is exciting because I haven't done them for a little while. I've been mostly just doing some informational episodes, to keep new players informed on some tips that they might do with constructing their decks, and I think they've been very well received. So going to keep that going. And Guillaume and I, you and I have talked about doing another Magic Bullet episode, which we're going to do soon as our schedules allow for it, and when I can actually take some time to write up a outline for that. But actually, I'm going to do an on the fly Magic Bullet episode pretty soon, Monday actually, to announce the 2025 Voyager Promotions Tournament, in which we're going to announce the brackets for the 4 players who are taking part in that little mini tournament. And the winners for that tournament are going to get some pretty sweet prizes, which we'll talk about more on that episode Monday night. So it'll be live, but I'm going to quickly turn around and edit it later on because it's going to be a very short broadcast. So that's going to be Monday night, 9:30 Central Standard Time. So stay tuned for that one as well. So we got 3 broadcasts happening in the very near future game. So it's going to be a busy week, but in a good way.
Indeed.
All right. Anything that I forgot? I feel like I've so much to go over because I haven't done a live game in a little while. And I feel like we've had so many updates in our Discord community that I feel like I'm forgetting to impart something to the masses here.
No, I think you've covered everything. You talked about people finding you on Discord for the Season 4 expansion. And yeah, I think you've covered everything.
Excellent. And again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please hit that subscribe button and give it a like while you're at it. If you can only do one, hit the subscribe button. Unless you've already subscribed, then don't hit it again. And so Guillaume, you and I are probably going to have to do another sample deck matchup because there's still 3 other sample decks left that we haven't tried yet. David Peace, I hope you watch this and tell me what you think of the travel deck, because it was working out pretty well for Guillaume, especially in the beginning. It was looking damn good. It just could not get that driving card to happen in the right time. Oh, I forgot to have you pick up the next site on your bureau deck.
It was I think it was Braddock Heights.
Braddock Heights. Okay, and a bureaucracy one too, actually.
Yeah. I think
Braddock Heights. Yep. Oh, because you do have Blevins, but you do have you do have enough bureaucracy to pull it off, just barely though.
Yeah, well, that's the case for most of those skill checks actually, and that's one of the things that was a change for me, because usually I like to be strong in a couple of skills, and with this particular deck, there were like sciences, you had criminal investigation, you had behavioral, bureaucracy, but it was either a total of 4 or 5 max. So that was a change for me to
what
particular team.
What happened, the reason I had to include the Braddock Heights is because it has a motive question, and I think what was happening is that I was not I didn't have enough motive sites going on in that travel deck. So I shoehorned in that one, even though you do have just enough bureaucracy to make it happen. But I think that's why it was an add-on, just so that you had enough motive sites. And really, I was waiting for you to play a motive site like pretty much since the start of the game, because I had 2 adversaries in my deck that are both motive site dependent. The Manitou stalks his prey, and as you saw, Private McAlpin, which I had to discard twice. I was really looking forward to playing one of those 2 motive adversaries, but you never had a motive site in hand.
No, I didn't. I think I really enjoyed playing with that particular deck because of the agents that I don't use often, and also like it's different strategy, different way of playing. As I say, I usually like to be strong in a couple of skills. I think what I was struggling with for this game, and it might be based on how the cards came up, I was struggling for cards to sell for CP, which
okay.
is
yeah.
So maybe like switch a few of the active events for maybe a few equipments, or maybe cards with a higher cost that you can sell. Again, it might be the question of the cards not coming at the right time. When I was building a deck, I was like, oh, maybe there are fewer equipments that I would like, or maybe not enough cards with a high cost that you could either use or sell for CP. And yeah, I was really struggling for the game. And so it's like I had enough resources, but if you buy too much, then you have to discard a lot during your debriefing phase, so you don't want to waste your resource. But then for the conspiracy part, I often had cards, but that would require me to have more CP to actually be able to play them. So that's maybe the one thing that I had difficulties with. And also a small thing, because I could have had that card in my hand and not be able to play it, but I did not have a healing card in my deck, and so I could not have I was not able to remove the sinus cavity implant. I could have had one in my deck and it could not have come up, so it would have been the same.
Yeah.
And again, this did not actually bother me during the game, because I was generating enough resources. But maybe a healing card in case of, or if your opponent has a Manitou, for instance, or something else that requires a healing card, maybe just like we have 2 Langley's and 4 Hickeys, etc., and Grid Pattern Search, maybe at least 1 healing card in every deck might be a good idea.
Yeah, throw in a shotgun or 2 in there at the very least. That's a good idea. And of course, yeah, I mean, you did have some nasty surprises in there. You had 2, but they just were undoubtedly too near the bottom of the deck. And yeah, your equipment cards, while you pretty much only had like 3 4-cost equipment cards, which I knew you had to sell the quadrant map, which was a good call at that point. And so yeah, I think that's a good addition to make. If you can add some high cost resource cards, so that you can sell them for CP, that would be a worthwhile effort on that. And of course, like the deck itself, like really, it's not like it's kind of intended. It's kind of built for speed in the sense that of a travel deck, because you've got like those 2 road trips and you've got those 2 driving cards that you can use to investigate multiple sites. You've got some potential there to really kind of race through the game pretty quickly if the cards are gelling, which was what we were hoping for, especially with that driving card, because you had sites from Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and Maryland. Those were the 3 states represented in there, but it seems you were just getting, it was every other state was Massachusetts, Maryland, Massachusetts, Maryland, Massachusetts, Maryland, unfortunately. And then as it happened, they just did not come up in the order that you would have liked. But it would have been really exciting to finally see driving get played. And I think of all the cards, that's one of those cards we have yet to see played successfully. There's very few, but that's one of them.
And I think also, like, looking specifically at your deck, it also showed me like we have to be careful, maybe for our expansions we should maybe create cards that are specifically made for teams that are strong in behavioral, for instance, or medical or subterfuge. Because when you're looking at bureaucracy, you have some cards that are really great for bureaucracy teams. Like you get the decreased workload, you get the blackmail cards, you get like the cell phone seems to be made, like for Skinner, for instance, it seems like perfect for him. And so when you have all those cards come up, and when you build the deck the way you did, it doesn't give it does give you an earned advantage, but we also have to be careful to say, okay, for our expansions, we want players who want to use different skills to be able to benefit. So I'm not saying we should have a card that says if your team makes a medical 4+, then you can ask a question without getting any penalty. Like we don't want to duplicate all of this, but maybe say, I don't know, if your team can make a medical 4+ skill check, then you get this, something different from the bureaucracy one, something different from occult, etc. So at least if you say okay, I'm going to play medical, then you are going to get advantages that you do not get from bureaucracy and you do not get from alien.
Yeah, that's true, because as we all know, it was alien investigation and bureaucracy. Those are the two skills that got the best cards of the bunch. Alien getting alien discretion for one, and Erlenmeyer Flask is another one. Meanwhile, bureaucracy gets also Erlenmeyer Flask and all those bureaucracy cards that you saw me get to play earlier. I didn't get to play Smokescreen, but I didn't really need it because you didn't have any government adversaries in that deck. So that was one card that was going to prove useless for this particular endeavor. But thankfully, the last time I played Smokescreen, that was all Alistair had in his deck was government adversaries, and that could not have gone better than in that last game. So so I like that idea, and I hope while season 4 and 5 are already done, they're written and everything, but we still have some other expansions that are going to be coming up, of course, between you and Nathan. You guys will hopefully have some opportunities to write some more cards that will be able to do that. That's not to say the season 4 expansion and the season 5 expansion don't have that. We do have cards like aura photography and postmortem that are specific to like sciences and medical. So there's some there are some cards in there, but I just not in the quantities that I think that really suit those particular skills and give them a lot of variety, like you see with a blackmail card or a decreased workload. So I think we do need to see some creative new cards that cater to specific skills from time to time. And so like you said, it'll make those a little bit more appealing. And I hope maybe we'll see some of those with season 6 and when we get to play test in that next year.
I do have what I did try to do since I wrote drafts for 6, 7, and 8. There are some mechanics that I implemented in season 6, but that are only for our specific skills. But those same mechanics will be found in season 7 and season 8 for other skills. So it's like, I don't know, if your team can make, I don't know, let's say medical or sciences 4+ skill check, you get this. And then you get something similar, but not quite the same for season 7, but with maybe, let's say, occult and criminal investigation. And then for season, like I tried to maybe give a sense of unity among those 3 expansions. So, okay, just like for Premier, like you did not get cards, like the Erlenmeyer Flask, for instance, you did not get the same card for other skills. But what we're doing is we are doing that for, in season 5, for instance, we got the one from Kill Switch for computer and I think evidence collection. So we're going to have a couple in season 6, then in Nathan's expansion as well, probably. And so by the end of, let's say, season 9, all of the skills will have been covered. But it will take time for everything to be available. But I like that. It's like you're implementing something, but you're not giving everything at once, and it gives the whole, like when you look at the whole project and all of the expansions together, like this feels like a whole.
Yep, because we're given representation to those variation on a theme effects that are much needed, but it's going to take the vast representation of all the seasons and the movies and anything else that we're working on. There's a couple spin-offs in there too. There's a lot. And of course, we got, as you said, Nathan revisiting the first 3 seasons. Collectively, we're looking at well over 1,000 cards that this project is going to encompass. More than, easily over 1,000, because we have 180 cards for each season alone. And that's not counting what's coming in with these checklist expansions, what's coming in with Nathan and Dave Peace and Dave May and Mike Chuck are all bringing in with their respective expansions. We're going to be looking at well over 1,000 cards when all is said and done. But lots of different creative minds applying their own unique flavor to it. And so I think that's where, where you and I might feel a little exhausted with some of our ideas after each writing over like 300 cards a piece. You way more, actually, way more than that. It is hard to keep cranking out like new unique ideas. So it's good we've got a bunch of creative minds together working on it. And it's coming up on 1 o'clock. So we're going to wrap this up and shut the door of this X-Files office for the night. But again, stay tuned, because we got more live matchups coming right up. Again, Sunday night is going to be the next one. It's 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. Me versus Sky. Be there for that. And I want to thank Guillaume for availing himself for this matchup, but also thanking Guillaume for everything he's done for the X-Files CCG Preservation Society. That includes everything you've done to help me improve upon this channel, as well as all the beautiful work that you've done with the design for the expansions. They are just absolutely gorgeous cards, and I hope that these cards make it to as many hands as possible so they can see the beautiful artwork that you've created with these cards. And just every contribution you've made has been just in continuance of our efforts to keep this game alive, the awareness of this game alive. So yeah, we owe a big thanks to you.
Oh, thank you. Like you said, when you're working on your videos, like it makes you really happy, and it brings out the creative side of you. And so I feel the same way about like this game, and like designing either cards or posters or whatever items. Like I did my own binders like in the last few weeks, but just like trying to continue the aesthetic of the game and of the show that I grew up with. That's really fulfilling. So thank you.
Yes. And there's no end in sight, given how much more of this project we have to go through. And so, we've got years of work ahead of us. And so, that's going to be plenty of hobby gratification, to look forward to. And with that, we'll say goodnight, and please be sure to tune in again for another edition of Alien Investigations. Good night, everyone. And before I leave,